Hello everyone, my name is Corazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. If you saw the last episode, then you will surely recognize the new interior of our first floor. We did a lot of detailing last episode, from the mud area and the shoe rack in our parlor, to the parlor proper's couch and display case. We worked some brown clay bricks in amongst the fire clay bricks in our fireplaces. We made our book nook, and now we have a place to relax and read our books and listen to music. We worked a bit on our dining room and finished it off, and we now have space for, what's that, 10 guests? Sorry, 9 guests plus ourselves. So we are ready to entertain. I guess I shouldn't stand on this, should I? And last but not least, we also just sort of finished up tidying up our kitchen. And now we have plenty of counter space to make pies, and we have moved our stick storage and this extra storage vessel off the floor. In this episode, we're going to start working our way up our house from floor to floor, and today we are going to focus on the second floor. There is a lot of unadorned walls here, a lot of real estate that we can play with and turn into a very cozy home. We have, of course, the hallway and breakfast area, this could use a little bit of something, maybe a little throw rug, perhaps. We have the secondary bedroom, which is mostly just junk storage. And we have the primary bedroom, master bedroom, which is on its way, but needs a bit of something. It's awfully empty. Doesn't really feel lived in, you know? And last but not least, we have the chisel room. And we're going to need to leave most of this room relatively empty, because if we're working on a chiseled piece right here, we don't want to accidentally chisel or unchisel something that is set along the walls here. However, I might leave a couple of our chiseled blocks here just to show off some of the things we've made and have copied in the past. Also for ease of access to grabbing and copying more. I might also move the Copius Majoris Workbench Extended up here, so we don't have to run to the basement every time we want to copy a block we just made. That aside, I think this will mostly be sort of chisel storage, so we'll put some of our more useful blocks in here, things we use more often in chiseling, and then probably some decorations up here on the higher parts of the walls. As well as, maybe we could move this lantern from the wall to hang from the ceiling. Or we could use our second chandelier. Anyway, that is today's plan, so I think we should buckle down and let's get to it. To start off, we're going to need to clear out most of the contents of these rooms, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we will focus on our new cleared up real estate and see what we can do with it. Okay, we have the rooms cleared out, and I have all of the stuff sitting in the hall, some of it in this chest. But the first thing I want to do isn't inside these rooms, it's under these stairs. See, we happen to have exactly 6 bookshelves, and there are exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks that need bookshelves under them. So I think it would be cool to chisel in some bookshelves into here. And if you recall downstairs, we kind of chiseled them down to less than half their original depth, but here, because we're not going to see the sides of them, we can sort of chisel back just a little bit, just so we don't, accidentally brush and damage books as we're walking by, but still have most of a block under here. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I just realized that this block is the same as this one, so I'm wondering if we could maybe cheat a little instead, and take these guys out, and just full-on replace them with bookshelves. That way, we'll have some bookshelves on this side of the wall too. Not a bad idea. Work those in. And could even, when I add these bookshelves in here, maybe get a few more out of it. Well, chisel out. There we go. I think that works. I didn't realize that some of these blocks, the secondary shelf is not quite on the center line, or in some cases nowhere near the center line. So I was going to just chisel in a bit of oak under here for all of these, but that's not going to work for some of them, so I left those a little blank, because otherwise you end up with sort of this weird extra line right here that doesn't quite match up with the shelf. So we will just do that and not look at it. But now we have a bookshelf under the stairs. I like it. Now for in here, I was thinking that right here I wanted to put our bed on a platform, and this will be the straw bed. So I don't think we want to have the bookshelves right here, but we can leave them. They'll sort of get covered up. But for these ones, we can probably go ahead and just add the bookshelf in. Those are really unexciting bookshelves, honestly. Maybe we'll also do this one. That's a bit better. We could even... Oh, you're not a bookshelf, are you? You're not. Okay. Something tells me... Yep, I just screwed that up. So we could have, I suppose, 3 bookshelves here, and maybe these are all empty because we keep reading them and putting the books on our bedside table or something. I don't know. But let's see what we can do with this interior, including moving this lantern out of head bonking range. Now, something we need to do is we need to have some place to store our summer clothes. So, I was thinking a chest right here, but what if we were to build a little dresser around it by doing the thing we do and forgetting our chisel downstairs, and just shaping this down until it's a sliver, and then shaping it into a dresser with a little keyhole right here so that we can look in, right-click, and open the chest inside. And that way we'll have a functional dresser. I will say, I am very much tempted to install QPTech's chisel tools, because making these sort of really flat slabs would be much, much easier. And there we have it. We have a fully functional dresser. Maybe I'll actually add a bit of this along the bottom. There we go. And if we look through this keyhole right here, we can get into this chest. So let's go get our summer clothes and fill our dresser. Now don't ask me how what look to be fur-lined boots are summer weather, but they don't do a whole lot against the cold, so in they go. And just like that, you'd never know it was there. Now, for up here, I think we need something else up here. Maybe a shelf. I think a shelf, maybe with some plants, or something else on display would do well up here. Ooh, I know. Okay, we've got a flower pot for up here, and some nice blue cornflower. And I really like using cornflower as a decoration because there are so few blue things in Vintage Story that it just really helps bring a spark to the room. Then, over here, perfect. Done. Look at that. Just kidding. Let's spin these around. Here we go. And then we have a display case we can put up here. Oh, we can't put it here. Requires solid ground. Maybe we just need a longer shelf. How does that work? There we go. Very nice. And then maybe in here is where we'll store our rock collection. So I'm thinking that we'll have some phyllite and maybe some kimberlite for some of the more exotic deep stones. In the back, we'll have our swave... Or the front? Sure, the front's fine too, I guess. In the front, we'll have our swavite. Just kidding, it's going to the back. In the front, we'll have our bauxite. So now we have our little rock collection. Can't really see it from the floor, but we know it's there. And that, I think, is the secondary bedroom complete. It's nice and tidy, but it still has enough clutter to make it feel lived in. I think we need one more thing. I think a little chair here for tying our shoes would be great. I'm kind of leaning toward a stool more than a chair, so I'm thinking one of these guys would be perfect. And there we go. Our little shoe tying chair. So we can tie our warm summer wool-lined boots? Question mark? It still makes no sense to me. Well, that is one room done. So, let's move on to the master bedroom. And you'll notice that I have moved up the torch holder. I think I'm going to leave it there. And I do want the bed to be in this corner. And while I was thinking about doing another platform bed, I think that would run into the window a bit too much. So, I think we'll leave this bed as it is, lower down. But we have plenty of canvas space to work with here. I think the first thing I want to do is I want to do a similar dresser over here, except that this time we'll be putting down a trunk for more storage. So I'm going to go get that going on. It's going to look pretty much like this. Again, we're going for the matching furniture in the house, so everything sort of just ties together a bit better. And so I won't make you sit through a second chisel session for this guy when they're going to be largely identical. And here it is, our double-wide dresser. I basically copied most of our blocks over. I was able to use the side panels and the front ones for each of these. And just like before, right-click here, into the trunk. And of course, over here, it is into the seam trunk. I did come through both of these, and I added this little arch under here so that our dresser has feet rather than being flush with the floor. And since the trunks and chests are sort of set back a little from the edge of the block, you can't really see them unless you're really far away and crouched down. And even then, it's kind of hard to notice, so I'm pretty happy with that little detail. And I did it in here too. It just looks so much better, I think. So, for the other decorations in this room, I think I want to bring in our mannequin with the copper armor. And we'll just tuck him here in the corner. There we go. And maybe at some point when our next sword wears down to a nub, I'll give him a sword to hold too. Ooh, better yet, I have a copper sword. 2, in fact. And... okay, a little clumsy. But not bad. And in the next version of the game, these will become sort of curved falxes instead of swords, like straight-edged swords, and we'll be able to make a copper wrench that we can use to right-click this, and it will change the position. So we can have it sort of holding the sword down, pointed at its toes, or a couple other positions. But for now, this will do. So that is that corner. I think I want to do another plant on here, and maybe something... maybe something here, too. Maybe like a planter here and a pot up here. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, so we have a flower pot here, and we'll put some catmint in you. There we go, and then we'll do a slightly cocked planter and a walnut sapling. It looks like these actually stay green in winter. I didn't realize that. Nice. So let's see, what else could we do in here? Right here, we need something here, or you know what? You know what? We could do a small shelf. I'm thinking just a single block one. That way we can actually put this guy, if I can grab him rather than opening and closing him, we could put this guy right, say, here. That doesn't even need to be super deep either. Maybe we could borrow this guy and copy him. Thank you for your service. And then we can drop you here. We'll spin ya. And then we'll just sort of copy this leg over to this side. But maybe we'll pick you up and put you somewhere I can actually work on you a little better. Like, I don't know, the chisel room. And now, our shelf. And maybe we could even prune this back a little farther. And there we go. A little nightside table with our, well, I would call it a piggy bank, but it's more of an alley chest. And it is empty because I spent every last gear on frivolous pursuits. Buying paintings and, well, you saw. So, that I think is our master bedroom complete. Maybe at some point I'll fit something over here. It will have to be like another one of these guys or something because of the blocks over here. But it is a possibility at some point. And last but not least, we have the chisel room. Now this one, again, I said I want to keep it simple, so it will be a pretty simple room. Again, I don't want to be accidentally chiseling anything we put on the walls here, but we do have room for maybe a couple shelves over here, maybe something up here, and maybe a couple planters under the window. And then we'll have this nice space for chiseling and for occasionally showing off spoils of our adventures or whatever we are showcasing in here, like I've done before. I think the first thing I want to do is I want to get the lantern off the wall here, and I think I might actually put it over here rather than here. We don't have a center to the room, it's an even number of blocks deep, but I'm thinking if we put it farther away, it won't feel like it's crowding what will be the balcony up there. So let's go ahead and do that. But one thing I do want to do here is I want to bring down this a little bit. Let me see what we're working with here. Yes, this is all one block. Okay. In that case, then I'm going to bring this back like this, so we have a flat surface here. And that way it'll just look like the ceiling is a little rounder and not like we tried to wedge the plaster straight up against the ridge of the roof. Because really, in a build like this, you would actually have, you would actually have probably a rounded ceiling at the very top. There we go. And that also gives us a little bit more stability for apparently smushing stone in our face. But for making this chain here, that way we don't have to worry so much about merging the chain into the very tip of the ceiling where we'll never see it because it's kind of lost in shadows there. So I'm going to get this first chain in. This will be the one that has a bit of a flange that hooks into the ceiling. And then after I make the second chain, I'll just copy a few of them, and then at the bottom we will hang this lantern at the end of the chain. there we go. We have our lantern hanging from a chain. Now, for the rest of the room's decorations. Okay, and that is this room almost complete. We are still waiting for some of those planters and flower pots to fire. So once those are done, I'll go ahead and bring those in here and scatter them about. But in the meantime, while we wait, I think I want to address this. Because although this leads to our third floor, it's visible on our second floor, so I think it counts. And I think what I want to do here is, I was going to use a log. I think it'd be better to use some more plaster. And what we'll do is we'll just sort of taper it off here, and then I will mix and match the plaster with a board of larch that I don't yet have. Now I do. We'll just do a bit of this, take this out, and then add you back in. Like that. And maybe we will leave that corner sharp, because otherwise we'll end up with a hole down to the floor below. So then what we can do right here is if we just kind of do a bit of this, maybe even a little bit more. I think it helps. Maybe even go up one more. If I was feeling extra dangerous, I could also do something like this. There we go. Even better, I think. Stick with that. And then the last thing we need here are some rails. So I'm going to copy these guys as much as I can, because these walls and these stairs are all part of one block. So there will be some manual adjustment here. Actually, I think it might all have to be manual. Oh dear. Well, at least we have one more chisel after this one. And there we go, our stairwell complete. And we can still just barely fit up it. Let's go check on the extra pottery for this room now. Looks like it's all done. Okay, so for our pottery, I think we should put one here, and one there, and then put another planter there, and we'll sneak one in on one of these corners. I'm thinking here, It's a bit more out of the way. Then let's go ahead and fill these with some flowers. I'm thinking, yes, a big bush of cornflower. Then over here we can tuck some daisies and put some heather in this pot, and then some woad in there. Now we just have some nice color in this room, in addition to the unchiselable table. So I figured the dirt was going to be a bit ugly, so the table will help, let us work on something elevated off the ground, while also not being chiselable and while not being ugly like dirt. Now one last thing I want to do is I think another throw rug would be nice out here, but I also wanted to make a change to this one down here, because this white from the limestone is just not bright enough, and I don't want to bring the plaster texture into it. I don't have chalk, but I do have sandstone, so I'm thinking we could dig out our chisel and we could put some sandstone into these blocks. I think it's still too pale. It kind of blends with the larch too much. Let's try something else then. Maybe some claystone. It's not quite the color that I want, but I think it's the color that we have. Although I could, if I was feeling dangerous, I could maybe chisel some sandstone and see how that works. I mean, polish it, specifically. Let's try that. I think I like the gold color better. It just needs to be a bit darker. That's not awful. Let's try it some more. Fill in these gaps here. Let's do another section, see how it turns out. I don't hate it. And the seams kind of blend into the floor a bit, so I think I can live with that. Now I want to do another rug upstairs. I'm thinking maybe a different color. What color is missing from this room? I am thinking that maybe a chert rug would be nice. Let's see. Yeah, that might be nice. Again, with the sort of gold edge. Let's see how it works. And like that, we now have a brand new circular, this time throw rug, up here on the second floor. I think it helps to bring a bit of warmth to the area, given that our fireplace is eternally unlit. But we have a lot of cool colors going on here, so I thought this would help. Anyway, I am very happy with how our second floor has come out. I was going to bring up some of the brown bricks to do the same thing to this fireplace as we did downstairs, but we don't have enough and we're out of money, so we can't buy any more. Whoops. But aside from that, I think we are well on our way to finishing the house, and I will need to figure out what to do with these and where they will go. I think that'll be for the next episode, though. But we started with the bookshelves under the stairs, and then we moved to the secondary bedroom, where we brought the bookshelves over into the room and have a platform bed and all the things we need to live in here. And we have space for our summer clothes in this dresser. Then we moved on to the master bedroom with its longer, more comfortable bed and our very empty owlie bank. And we have a similarly carved giant dresser and a tree. And then we moved on to our chiseling room, and I feel like this is ready for us to do some work. And we also got a bit more lore, because when I was out buying stuff for the house, I did find the last piece of Nightfall, which I think was the left third. I had the other two. And then we came out here and we did just a little bit more touching up with the rug and the railing on the stairs, and this little piece of plaster sort of fills in this little extra gap we had going on here. But I think that maybe next episode we should tackle the third floor. This is a blank slate, really, at the moment, and so we can do whatever we want with it. I think I have an idea what that might be, including some access to the attic. There will be a means from here up to the attic, where we will have some of the kind of collapsed chests and some of the older looking pieces of storage. So look forward to that in the next few episodes. Anyway, everyone, boing, boing, boing. I guess I didn't think of that, did I? That is about all we have time for in this episode of the Vintage Story Guide. I hope you enjoyed our adventure in filling out and detailing the second floor of our house. And I hope you're looking forward to the detailing of the rest of the house, and then some of the projects that will come after that. If you have an AMA question you'd like me to answer in a video like this one, drop it in a comment with the hashtag 20questions. And if you play video games and would like to support the channel, consider using my partner link next time you're shopping on the Humble Store, on screen now and in the description below. Anyway, as always, my name has been Corazar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.